Hello and good day. Welcome to Babylon Game Starter. This is a new and exciting time as I reveal more about this project that takes the perspective of everyone counts, everyone deserves a quick and seamless route from ideation to manifestation in the forms of an application deployment for some sort of game or game-like experience. Now, we're using some constraints here to make this feasible to live and exist in the real world. We're using web technologies here. We're using Babylon graphics rendering engine, wonderful, wonderful rendering engine, as well as its playground tool as a means by which to interact with that vibrant and creative community. And we also have ourselves some options when it comes to deployment. You can deploy a static site, you can deploy yourself a web service, and you have some language options as well. So I'm going to run through some of the basic ideas and principles here and try to keep this somewhat brief. Hey, I'm excited. This is just fresh out of the gate. So let's get started here. The Babylon Game Starter, first and foremost, is designed for education, but not limited to education. It's just where I'm coming from and where my energy is, circling around. That's the gravitational center for me. But I have kept in mind, this idea that indie projects and other commercial projects may want to build in a similar fashion, and I want to enable that to happen fairly seamlessly. Now, the Babylon Game Starter, first of all, is modular in its configuration, and it is designed to be a physics-based game first. Now, all of this I expect to have, some options down the road. Everything currently, though, is a physics-based system where the controller for the character, the interaction with a lot of the items is expected to be at least somewhat physics-based. We're looking to open up this to all types of other games, but we really need to get some engagement here because this is, as I said, fresh out the gates. So we have a lot of information here. I will link to this repository in the description, but I'm going to just give you a little scroll through the README here for the GitHub page, and you can see what we have so far. Let me jump over here to the user guide. The user's guide here, again, putting out there, this is a framework for 3D games, goes through all the specific managers and modular design configurations that are in place, as well as having a few mermaid diagrams, of course, to illustrate some of the dynamics that goes on between the different modular parts in the system, and a nice discussion, some code examples as well. And you can see that it's not shy on documentation, at least in this current state that it's at. I'm going to maintain the documentation as I move forward. This day and age, of course, being a lot easier. Okay, we can see over here, we got some link kind of opportunities here to some wonderful inspirational pieces here that are related to what I do as an educator and how I engage with the Babylon community. I'm going to also jump back to the deployment guide now. The deployment guide is interesting, I believe. It gives you the opportunity to design all kind of east-west systems and integrations. I haven't done any database kind of based integrations yet whatsoever. This is really just fresh out the gate, but I have already set it up so it can dynamically set up endpoints for Go endpoints, Python endpoints, Rust-based endpoints. You know, Node.js is going to be part of the system no matter what. It's part of the Vite kind of ecosystem, the build system, and so forth already. It's also going to be Docker-based for the deployment. And in terms of any of the targets for hosts, the only one that's going to be currently supporting web services would be Render. Netlify and GitHub Pages will be there as an option if you just wanted to serve your application as a static site. And we have this all dynamically available for you to express in the settings how you want to deploy your particular project. And you can see over here, you can host it on GitHub, Netlify, or Render. Only web service can be run on Render, GitHub, and Netlify for static. Render can also do static, of course, as well. The runtimes for the endpoints that you offer up could be either Node, Rust, Go, or Python. For Python, we have a couple options here as well. For the frameworks, Flask, Falcon, or Bottle. And I go into some details here. I'm not going to go through all of this other than to say that you can also do some really cool header-based kind of introspection of packets because we're also running Nginx conf there, and you can kind of link out to different Nginx related scripts if you are getting into it that deeply, and do all kind of other things as well as, for example, like policies, run sidecars that connect off of the Nginx endpoint and so forth and so on. But this hopefully gets you a little bit interested if you wanted to get something out really quickly. I think that this is going to be a viable solution for many people. Let me jump over here into this workspace where I have this set up. Now, the nice thing about this is I had illustrated in another video is that you can also just with a simple script by running basically npm run export playground, you can export a playground and it will export it to a particular, if I jump over here in the source directory, we have client, deployment, and server. If I go to client, we can see we have playground over here. This is playground.json. I have another copy of that appears elsewhere. If you export it, I export it to 2 places. But then you can, yes, open up or export a certain version of your application into a playground, which is oftentimes a great way of kind of engaging other people in your process without having to drag them over to your GitHub repository and possibly being behind a private repo or something. So this is a nice way. I haven't gotten too deep into it where it kind of culls out certain parts of the application and only puts those into the playground. That's something I would like to have as a discussion among other people in the community so that you could be working on potentially some indie game behind a private repo where you can run the script and generate a playground based on part of that particular game, let's say, and expose that to the wider community, provided that you're comfortable with that, and get some perhaps assistance and some insights into some of the idioms and creative ways that you go about doing things. I will jump over here into render.com. If I restart this, it's on a free render web service. So you can see it will take a little while to spin up, and you can see over here, this is how it's spun up on render. So it's spinning up really nicely from a Docker instance and setting up that Nginx endpoint and setting up the routes based off of that. You might say, hey, why don't you just put a Node.js kind of instance right in front? I don't think that's too wise for a lot of people for many reasons. If you know a lot of the kind of limitations of Node.js, I would rather people not have to run into that if they did want to scale this up a lot further. So over here, there I am. If I refresh this, maybe we can see the start screen. There we go. Just briefly, it said Babylon Game Starter. And this is basically the little kind of demo information I have in here. There's a little demo of a cutscene entering into one of the environments there. So I have a little cutscene system built into it. You can have either video or screenshot related cutscenes just out of the box. A lot of this, again, is very minimal, intended for a very introductory level game development audience in education. So don't expect too much fancy pants going on with this. I will leave it to the community to really shout out what they think are the most important aspects to build out next. And that's why I'm putting this forward, so you can be part of that information cascade and let me know what you think. And I would love to be responsive and collaborate with you. And have a wonderful, wonderful day.